You see him on the news.
CNN.com contributor, Dean Obeidallah. So, Dean...
Watch him at comedy clubs.
When I say Mecca, do you think of a holy place or an urban clothing line?
Read his articles. And you hear him on the radio. The Dean Obeidallah Show is on live right here on SiriusXM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters of the Resistance. Tuesday, April 23rd, we're live right here. I'm Dean Obeidallah, hoping as always to be your MBFF. Why? Because I'm needy. And I do like being friends with people. So we got a lot to talk about. And I said yesterday, we're not going to talk about impeachment every day, but I am going to talk about it in the first hour because of developments that happened today. And I think it's really important to keep in mind what is going on. And we're 6 days post the Mueller report. We do not know a Democratic unified strategy in the House. It's all over the place. You have some Democrats saying, I want impeachment, others saying, no, we're fine. Nancy Pelosi herself is saying that she wants to put the brakes on impeachment, wants hearings. And we talked about it yesterday. And my view is very simple that, first of all, I think they're obligated. That's one thing. But I think things happened today that really make it clear. And I'll go through what the people in the Trump world did today. That if you're on the fence about needing impeachment, I hope this changes your mind about why this is so important. And I got some emails from people yesterday. I'm dean@deanofradio.com, and I'd love to hear from you. Even when you disagree, sincerely, I love hearing from people. And some were like, we need impeachment now and get him out. Someone emailed me and told me, and she's a progressive, that stop bashing Democrats. And I'm bashing Democrats. I am not bashing Democrats. I am trying to hold the Democratic leadership accountable to 70% of the base that wants impeachment hearings now. That's what I want. Now, this person actually said, I want impeachment, but I want it next year because I think it's more effective against Trump. I'm refusing to make a political calculation about this. I am saying it might not be the winner politically, but I think you have to do impeachment because of Article 1 of the Constitution. I think you have to do it now. And to me, the best line is Elijah Cummings, and I played it yesterday, on Sunday on Face the Nation about the issue about do you do impeachment now? Here's clip number 1.
If you do vote to impeach him and then the Senate votes not to remove him, won't that look like a victory for him?
It may very well, but sometime, Bob, I got to tell you, there comes a point in life where we all have to make decisions based upon the fact that it is our watch. And, history, I think, even if we did not win, possibly, if there were not impeachment, I think history would smile upon us for standing up for the Constitution.
And that's a great point. And here's another clip by Elijah Cummings. And this is what I'm really getting at today about what happened today. And Elijah Cummings predicted this on Sunday, and it's happening right in front of us. And I'll play the clip and I'll explain in a second. This is not a clip I played yesterday. This is a different one. Elijah Cummings on Sunday. Here's clip number 2, please.
Now that we know all the information that we know, we can't just allow this to go on and on. If we do nothing here, what is going to happen is that the president is going to be emboldened. He's going to be emboldened because he said, well, I got away with that. And then the people who, his aiders and abettors, that is the Republicans in the Congress, they'll say, oh, he is pretty strong, and they'll continue to go along with him. We cannot afford that. Our democracy cannot afford that.
Those are great words by Congressman Cummings, who's chairman of the Oversight Committee. Trump will feel emboldened. And we saw 3 examples in the last 2 days of this. In fact, a 4th one just before it went on air. And let me explain these. And to me, this is part of not pushing back and not impeaching him because Donald Trump feels like he got away with crimes. So nothing is above board. He can do whatever he wants. What are you going to do to me? You already investigated me. It's done. Even though his approval ratings have slipped down a little bit, and there's a lot of Democrats calling for impeachment, but not enough. I mean, on the grassroots, yes, not in Congress. Here's the things that happened today before I play some clips. The Trump administration has said no to Democratic oversight on everything now. Today, Carl Klein, the former White House Personnel Security Director, was supposed to testify at the House Oversight Committee about all those security clearance stuff. Remember, they gave Jared Kushner and countless other people were given security clearance over objections of the CIA. The CIA said, don't give it to him. And they gave it to him. So they subpoena Carl Klein. He doesn't show up today. Why? The White House told him not to go. He doesn't even work there anymore. They told him not to go, so he didn't go. Today, Donald Trump's tax returns were supposed to be produced. Today was the new deadline that Ways and Means Committee gave to the Secretary of Treasury to get the tax returns. Guess what? Today, no. They're like, we're not giving it to you. good luck with that. Third thing, yesterday, and this was something I talked about yesterday. And by the way, in response to Carl Klein not showing up to oversight, Congressman Cummings had a great statement. He goes, the White House and Mr. Klein now stand in open defiance of a duly authorized congressional subpoena with no assertion of any privilege of any kind. That is so important to hear again. Klein didn't show up. He goes, I'm not coming. And the White House said, he's not coming. They didn't even claim executive privilege or anything. No assertion whatsoever. They just said, no, we don't care. You gave a duly authorized subpoena on someone, and we're telling those people not to go there. And as Cummings continued on, based on these actions, it appears the president believes that the Constitution should not apply to the White House, that he may order officials at will to violate their legal obligations, that he may obstruct attempts by Congress to conduct oversight. And yesterday, Donald Trump, in his personal capacity, sued Elijah Cummings personally, the House Oversight Chair. He sued him to stop a subpoena, another duly authorized subpoena sent to Donald Trump's, the people who prepare his tax and financial statements. It's Mazur USA LLP. It's an accounting firm. They served the subpoena. Trump sues Cummings, literally sues the chairman, because you can't have those documents, even though you request them. And what does Trump's lawyer say? This is remarkable. In their complaint, they say, quote, Article 1 of the Constitution does not contain an investigations clause or an oversight clause. They are literally denying that Congress has the power to oversight the president because Donald Trump feels like he got away with crimes. He worked with Russians. He took their help. He obstructed justice. He intimidated Michael Cohen from testifying. He tried to obstruct justice in other places. He abused his power, and he's walking scot-free. Nothing is happening to him. Nothing. Nothing's happening. And what happened right before we went on air? You probably heard yesterday that the Democrats' Judiciary Chair served a subpoena on Don McGahn, Donald Trump's former White House counsel, and wanted him to testify. At 5 o'clock tonight, Eastern Time, the White House said he's not coming, and they're fighting the subpoena. So nothing. Donald Trump thinks he got away with everything, folks. So I don't know if we're going to win impeachment or not, but it's not even over here. And then you've got, as Chairman Cummings said, the allies of Trump are going to feel emboldened as well. And he's absolutely right. Here is Sean Hannity last night on his show, making light of the Russian attack, trying to say, we've been attacked for 30 years. This is nothing. And then listen closely as he literally brings up Hillary Clinton's emails. I'm not even kidding. This is last night on Fox News. This is what they're telling the Fox News audience. So let's hear clip number 3, please. 3.
After 30 plus years of our American government being hacked, can we please build the defenses to be unhackable? We should all of us be concerned about the integrity of our elections and the fact that this government's been hacked repeatedly for decades by hostile regimes. We need a top to bottom killer defense procedures against these hackers. That's why Hillary Clinton's email server is a real threat to our safety and security. And we do believe that that place was hacked by at least 6 foreign entities. This was all weaponized in the press inside the deep state to bludgeon Donald Trump.
30 years of our elections have been hacked and none of us knew about it. And Hillary Clinton, literally, do you hear him? That's last night. That's not like a year ago. Last night, Sean Hannity said, Hillary Clinton's email server is a threat to our national security. This is the garbage. So they're trying to tell them, hey, it's no big deal. We've been attacked for years. What he's leaving out is right from the report. Let me read, quote from the Mueller report. The investigation established the Russian government perceived it would benefit from a Trump presidency and worked to secure that outcome. And the Trump campaign expected it would benefit electorally from information stolen and released through Russian efforts. And there he's making light of it. And then this afternoon, the most stunning comment I've heard. Jared Kushner makes light of the whole attack. This is their now concerted message. Their strategy is to go out there and tell you, we get attacked all the time, and this was nothing. A little Russian thing. What does it really matter? Here is Jared Kushner today at the Time thing. He's being interviewed. Time 100 Summit. Clip number 4, please.
The media spends so much time focusing on it. And quite frankly, the whole thing's just a big distraction for the country. And you look at, what Russia did, buying some Facebook ads to try to sow dissent and do it. And it's a terrible thing. But I think the investigations and all of the speculation that's happened for the last 2 years has had a much harsher impact on our democracy than a couple of Facebook ads.
There's so much to unpack in that 18 seconds. First of all, he said the investigation by Robert Mueller, a Republican who was appointed by another Republican, Rod Rosenstein, did more to destroy our democracy than the attack by Russia. Second, then, He dubbed the entire attack by Russia a couple of Facebook ads. I'd love to hear this guy's description of 9/11. That might be unbelievable. He called the entire thing a couple of Facebook ads. It was not, and this is their strategy, is to tell their base, hey, we've been attacked for years, and maybe, Trump benefited a little bit, but big deal. They're always attacking us. It was not a couple of Facebook ads. Let me read from a little bit of the summary of the Mueller report about what happened. It was a military operation by a Russian unit called the GRU. In the first volume of the Mueller report that came out, it goes all about that. It talks about the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election. Towards this end, it used active measures, such as social media campaigns, as well as hacking and dumping operations through it accessed and disseminated private emails from the DNC and others. It talks about Russian government links to and contacts with the Trump campaign. And last July, 12 Russian intelligence officers were indicted by Robert Mueller for interfering in our election. They didn't buy Facebook ads. You know what they did? They didn't buy a couple of Facebook. Literally, Jared Kushner literally said, I don't have to exaggerate, literally said, all this was Russia bought a couple of Facebook ads. What did they do? And this is right from the indictment of last year. And they're trying to gaslight all of us. And it is vile. In the charging documents, it talked about the DNC emails hacked, the Democratic Congressional Committee was hacked, and Hillary Clinton's campaign hacked. They allegedly coordinated to release damaging information to sway the election. The 29-page indictment talks about phishing attacks to gain access to Democratic operatives, to money laundering, to a vigorous and complex effort by Russia's top military intelligence services to sabotage the campaign of Hillary Clinton. And one more big thing here that Jared Kushner doesn't think is important, but I do. And let's not forget this because it's overlooked in all of this discussion. Russia didn't only attack the DNC. They didn't just attack the Hillary Clinton servers. They attacked state and local election boards. They went after the infrastructure of our election. In fact, as the indictment from last July says, and this is not speculative, it's in the indictment, they stole, the Russian military hackers stole the data of 500,000 American voters from Illinois. We found out later it was Illinois, but in the indictment, it talks about 500,000 American voters, their identification information was stolen. What did the Russian military hackers get on 500,000 Americans? They got their dates of birth, their driver's license numbers, and partial social security numbers. Turned out they were all in Illinois, the people. We learned later after the indictment. This was an attack on, it wasn't a few Facebook ads. It was a military-grade attack on our nation in 2016. From attacking DNC, the Hillary campaign, to state and local boards and people who were providing software to these boards. They were attacking them as well to try to find ways to break into our system. For what reason? As Robert Mueller puts in his report, very clear, the Russians believed they would benefit from a Trump presidency, and they worked to secure that outcome. That's the exact words of the Mueller report. All of this was to help Trump. There's not a couple of Facebook ads. It's an attack on America. And the Russian military hackers got 500,000 Americans' driver's license, partial social security number, date of birth, and name. Who knows if they are now victims of identity theft? I have no idea, but perhaps some of them are. But to Jared Kushner, it's a couple of ads. And the point, go all the way back to Elijah Cummings. Trump will be emboldened, and so will his allies, if nothing more is done. And he's 100% right. Donald Trump was not indicted for obstruction, witness intimidation. He should have been. He wasn't because of DOJ internal policy. It is now, the Democrats can't wait. If they wait, think about this for a second. Say they wait 6 months. They do these great investigations for 6 months. And then in 6 months from now, we're in the fall, they go, now we're going to have impeachment hearings. Most Americans who are not really engaged are going to go, oh my God, this is just like the Benghazi stuff. It's just hyper-partisan over and over. What does it really matter? It's just politics as usual. That's what's going to feel like to everybody not truly following, paying close attention. To the heartland American who wants to make sure they have health care for their family and wages rising and the mill doesn't close and the coal mine doesn't close and all those concerns, they're going to think Democrats are just doing politics as normal. That's the problem with not going to impeachment now and going, we've got this report from Robert Mueller, a Republican and former FBI director. He outlines 10 episodes, 10, in his report of potential crimes by Donald Trump. We are going to follow that roadmap and have hearings to impeach the President of the United States. If we do not find enough evidence at the end of those hearings, we, of course, will not vote to impeach. But if we do, we're going to vote to impeach, and there'll be a trial in the Senate. Do that now. It gives it credibility. It makes it look like it is not a partisan Benghazi-type witch hunt. That is a real issue. It's a real thing based on an independent investigation. Democrats, I'm going to just say this. The GOP seems to give red meat to their base to keep them engaged and excited over and over and over. While our Democratic leaders seem to be okay with the idea of dampening our enthusiasm. And that's just wrong. That's absolutely wrong. And in this case, it's not even political. I've tried to make this point. I'm not making a political calculation. A political calculation is probably don't do impeachment. That's probably the political calculation. But if you're worried about the United States, our Constitution, our rule of law, and that no president should be able to do what Trump did and get away with it without at least having an impeachment hearing and likely impeached and standing trial in the Senate, if we don't do anything, that's the message. Trump gets away with it. He gets emboldened. He does worse. And the next president, who knows? You know what? If you don't have impeachment hearings, if you don't have that trial in the Senate for Donald Trump, I shudder to think what he'll do between now and November 3rd, 2020 to win re-election. He's worked with the Russians. Why not work with them again? And the Chinese and the North Koreans. North Koreans have the lethal abilities when it comes to hacking. So that's where we are. That's where we stand. It's not Democrat bashing. I think that as progressives, we must hold Democrats accountable. I'm a progressive first and a Democrat second. Of course, I'll never be a Republican, so it's never going to happen that way. I know they're intertwined, but I'm a progressive first. And I think we have to make the Democratic Party more progressive and have a backbone and a spine. And in this time, you can't play games. This is it. This is it. If we won the House so we can have a check on Trump. And if you're going to just do hearings and hang out for a few months and then go like, we didn't find enough evidence, you've let us all down. That's it. So I'd love to hear from you. 866-997-4748. What do you think we should do? You want to wait and have hearings? I respect everyone's view. We're all progressives here. I'm not going to get mad at anyone, of course. I'd love to hear from you, though, on this. Let's take some calls. Be right back.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Voting is the most important civil right of our era because the right to vote preserves all other rights. It's not the Second Amendment. It's not guns. It's voting.
Sirius XM Progress.